Welcome back. Thanks for watching the world burn with me, and it's back to school. Parents are always buying back to school supplies. Like school supplies are gonna disappear. Like they gotta stockpile them like they're rations or something.
Jimmy, you need more paper.
By the way, every single mother who goes back to school shopping somehow morphs into an old Jewish lady.
Look at this, you need paper for your studies.
No one needs 400 sheets of lined paper. One pack has 400 sheets. They'll buy a shitload of sheets. No one watching this is ever going to write 400 pages of anything. So why are we buying all this paper? Especially because we don't even write anymore. We text everything. We type everything. So this is a big cash grab. You could throw back to school, the label of back to school on any product, and people will buy it. A back to school drill, back to school bagel, back to school garden hoe, back to school bacon, back to school PVC piping, back to school hammer pants, back to school air fresheners, back to school Astroglide. You can put back to school onto anything and people will buy back to school children. And people will buy these kids back to school children.
Jimmy, pencil crayons. You can use these for school for coloring all sorts of projects. You'll get an A, and your dad will finally be so happy.
24 color pencil crayon packs. We never used all 24 colors. At most we used like maybe 6, and the rest of them just sat in the pack and they did fucking nothing. And every year we get a new pack and those same colors would just pile up. And you'd have a ton of Arizona topaz, you'd have a ton of terracotta, because no one's drawing Mexican villas here in Canada and having to color them in.
Jimmy, you can use this to calculate the angles in your spiky hair.
That's what these GTL losers do. They calculate the spikes and the angles of their spikes in their hair. That's the only use for this protractor. And why the hell would we get a new kit every year? Why would we get a new one of these every year? What kind of angles are we calculating that would break one of these things? This is hard-ass plastic. Okay, so here's what you really need to go back to school. Number one, you need a smartphone, because you gotta be able to contact your friends while you're in class and talk about who looks good and who looks ugly. The second thing you need when you go back to school is a good walk-in clinic doctor. That's what you need, because when you bail out on a test, or when you bail out on an assignment because you're partying too hard, or you just decide to stay up and play Call of Duty all night and not do your work, you need a good doctor that's going to have your back. The third thing you need when you go back to school, third essential, is a teacher that's not going to try and have your baby. Because there's way too many teachers out there having sex with students. I'm sorry, someone needs to talk about this. Don't try to turn my son's backpack into a diaper bag. And now all these teachers are going to be like, oh my God, can't believe he's saying that, da-da-da. Listen, I already got the inside scoop from the public school board teachers. I already know that it's just a high-class, fancy prison that we lock up all these kids in, and then we just release them onto the public. I get it. I'm a product of the public school board system. Ta-da! So what you really need to go back to school is, number one, a smartphone. Number two, a good walk-in clinic doctor. Number three, a teacher who's not trying to have your baby. And number four, a brain. Because you got to use it. That's pretty much it. Happy back to school, everybody. Kick some ass. And parents watching out there, yeah, keep an eye on those teachers.